It was reported in the news in the past, and the resident could not stand the anger of the resident's abuse of power and assault on the security guard, and the security guard committed suicide, and the resident who assaulted was arrested. This is only a fragmentary report, and it seems that this kind of power trip is common for the socially disadvantaged throughout our society. B is a service worker such as a security guard, courier, delivery man, department store salesman, and taxi driver, and A is a customer who receives services. A and B are in a relationship where they pay and receive services for each other's benefit, not a relationship of power trip. However, since the situation is different between A and B, working will lead to a difficult situation to understand. For example, depending on the road conditions, food delivery may be delayed, store items may be exhausted, and service quality may vary depending on the ability and personality of each employee handling the service. In this case, emotional labor friction can arise, and I will write this as an emotional labor manual. First of all, if you write it from B's point of view, first, when emotional labor occurs with A, residents, you should not be aware of it at the moment and be hurt by emotions. Since A paid, he will demand services for his own benefit as much as possible, and the staff can understand the position, but there is no reason to hurt his emotions. If you have been hurt by emotions without realizing it, you must quickly find the cause and resolve it to minimize the damage caused by emotional wounds. Second, if you find out the cause, A is the cause of the assault, so the security guard does not need to be hurt by emotions. If the employee has a cause, humbly accept it, apologize, and if a person works, they may make mistakes or do wrong, so you can admit the mistakes and correct them so that they can do well in the future. Third, the main cause of the solution is the customer, so if it is a small power trip, it is necessary to make an effort to solve it through a job manual or various conversation channels. In the event of such verbal or physical assault or injury, it must be resolved through the law. Next, if you write a manual from the perspective of the employee A, first, you should never notice an assault B at the moment when an emotional situation occurs. No matter how much you pay to purchase services or goods, you should not notice them at that moment because the legal responsibility must return to demanding more than a contractual relationship or assaulting an employee in particular. Second, identify the cause of employee's fault or unsatisfactory service, and third, as a solution, you must always make claims and requests for correction in accordance with due process, and you must not abuse your power or use unnecessary assault or abusive language. It is a mutual respect relationship between customers and employees who work and receive services for each other's benefit, and if you ignore employees as customers and pursue only benefits, you will eventually need to recognize that it is a loss to yourself. In particular, this culture of power abuse prevalent in our society must eliminate ignoring the weak and overusing their power just because they are powerful. It must be borne in mind that emotional labor is about maintaining a mutually beneficial relationship between customers and employees, and it is about a relationship of power abuse.